Bhargav, good morning.
Good morning.
Last year also you gave your interview.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you improve when compared to last year? You made some corrections?
Yes, ma'am. I definitely think I have improved.
Okay. So we will have questions from each panelist and then we will give you a review. Okay?
Okay.
Madam, will you start?
So being a political science student, right, I would like to know if a presidential system of the governance will be suitable for India.
Ma'am, I don't think it will be suitable, ma'am, because we have a long tradition of Westminster parliamentarian system which have been in force in India, ma'am. And also the presidential system centralizes too much in single position, ma'am. As pointed out by Honorable Ambedkar in his Constitution Assembly speech, hero worship is one thing which we need to be careful about in India, ma'am. So considering these two aspects, I think it's better if we do reforms in our parliamentary system rather than revamping it to a presidential system.
But are we moving towards it? What do you think? With the one nation, one election concept, and after that the presidential system is what we are hearing. So you think we are moving towards it?
I mean, yeah, definitely one nation, one election moves the pendulum towards the presidential system where the stability of elected government is prioritized over the accountability of the government, ma'am. I think presently the one nation, one election bill is in the joint parliamentary committee, ma'am. I think the parliament is the legitimate institution to see whether the bill is suitable for our needs or not.
How about the delimitation exercise? What do you think? I mean, is it a good one, advantageous one, or a disadvantageous one for the southern part?
Ma'am, on one hand, delimitation is very essential for deepening of democracy, ma'am. The fundamental principle of one person, one vote is one person, one vote is very essential, ma'am. However, due to the differences in the population and the sizes of the constituencies, the southern state voter is overestimated than the northern person vote value, ma'am. So to ensure that the vote value remains the same, definitely there is a need for delimitation, ma'am. However, it should not disincentivize the southern states to reduce their population, ma'am. So I think a comprehensive consensus between the southern states and the union government should be struck so that on one hand the democracy is deepened, on other hand we have a stable population as well, ma'am.
So what do you think? Because the contribution to GDP as such, southern states will definitely be more. So you think based on that, the value of a vote should be decided like a weighted average?
Ma'am, I think it should be a comprehensive formula, ma'am, like how the Finance Commission allocates funds to the states where there is a demographic performance aspect as well as I don't think taxation effort can be included in the delimitation exercise, ma'am, as far as I can understand. The demographic performance and the population of the states are the two good measures in my opinion which should be included in the delimitation formula.
So your AP Telangana, the AP Chief Minister as such, saying 3 kids should be the way forward for the southern states? He is encouraging us,
yes,
both the chief ministers.
Yes, because the total fertility rate is below the replacement level of 2.1, ma'am. Currently it is at 1.7 in Andhra Pradesh, ma'am. So to ensure our demographic dividend is reaped and our population is stabilized, definitely our total fertility rate should be increased, ma'am. So in this perspective, I think it is a pragmatic measure to promote more birth rates in Andhra and Telangana.
And how do you propose to do that?
And firstly, direct incentives, ma'am, like how the two-child policy for the local body elections that policy has been removed. So it actually incentivizes certain kind of families to go for more expanded families, ma'am. And secondly, I think we need to expand our basic amenities, ma'am. Instead of imposing some kind of idea of 3-child norm or 4-child norm, I think we need to systematically increase the basic amenities so that it enhances the positivity among the families to go for more kids, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Well, you come from the city of Visakhapatnam,
yes,
right? So there were news recently regarding the receding coastline as such. They were especially your famous Ramakrishna beach and all that being washed away. There were a lot of canteens and all. So do you see it as an impending problem?
Definitely, ma'am. Due to the encroachments on the beach area and due to the natural variability of the coastline itself, there is a significant issue of receding coastline in Visakhapatnam, ma'am, where we need to take some technical measures as well as governance measures so that the coastal ecosystem remains at a equilibrium, ma'am.
Right. There was this Hudhud cyclone that had happened earlier. There were measures that were taken at a rapid pace. So what exactly were those, and how was Vizag revived after that?
Yes, ma'am. I remember it very well, ma'am, because I was in my 11th class during the Hudhud cyclone in the year 2015, where firstly I think there was a strong leadership level at the state government level, ma'am, where at a mission mode, the rehabilitation of the victims have taken place. The command and control center has been established, so that first of all a strong leadership with a vision has taken place. Secondly, a proper planning to revive the greenery has taken place, ma'am. These two aspects in coordination with other departments, right from the electrical department to other local bodies, the coordination among these different departments, in my opinion, has led to the fast-paced reconstruction of Visakhapatnam post Hudhud cyclone.
True, right. So in that background, as in the water level, the kind of natural water being maintained and the habitation and the residential areas also being balanced. In that background, how do you see the Hydra project that has been taken up in Hyderabad?
I think Hydra has a very noble intention of limiting the encroachments on the lake bodies, ma'am.
Right.
Particularly in the metropolitan areas where we see there is a huge constraint on the available land resources. Encroachment on the water bodies is definitely not a sustainable solution in the long term, ma'am. Having said that, there are significant challenges in the operationalization of Hydra, ma'am. Firstly, poor people and people who don't know the land rights on their particular housing land, their own houses have been demolished, ma'am, without adequate rehabilitation. So I think we need to strengthen the deterrence measures as well as ensure that the current approval process is made transparent and technology is being used so that adequate land use planning is taken place beforehand, before the construction itself.
Right. Thank you.
In your hobbies, in your extracurricular activities, you have mentioned about Vipassana meditation. What is this Vipassana meditation?
Yes, sir. So the term Vipassana in Pali language translates to insight, sir. So it means developing insight or awareness of ourselves by observing our bodily sensations, sir. It actually involves two-step process, sir. Firstly, we need to sharpen our focus by using the Anapana meditation, sir. After 1/3 of our time in Anapana meditation, we go on to observe our bodily sensation without any judgment, sir. By developing such kind of non-judgmental awareness of ourselves, we will be developing holistic awareness of our sense of self, sir.
Okay. What is this Anapana meditation you were mentioning about?
Yes, sir. Anapana means the breathing in, natural breath observation, sir. So
Okay.
Anapana involves focusing our attention on our nostrils, sir, where the natural breath is being observed. It is just a initial stage of the meditation, so to sharpen our focus and the concentration aspects.
Okay. So it is a form of meditation.
Yes.
Okay. What are the other forms of meditation that are available?
Yes, sir. Sir, broadly there are 4 kinds of meditation, sir. Firstly, first classification is attention based or awareness based, sir. The attention based meditations are again of 3 types. Firstly, there are visualization based meditations like transcendental meditation, and there are verbalization based meditations like the heartfulness meditation by Sri Ramchandra Mission, and thirdly the breath focused meditations like the Anapana meditation. So these 3 come under the attention centric meditations. And now coming to the awareness centric meditations, these mostly belong to the Buddhist tradition of meditations, which focus on the mindfulness aspect. Right from the Zen meditation to the Vipassana meditation, these belong to the tradition of awareness centric meditations.
You are also a mentor for mental well-being. Okay. So we are seeing lot of debates on mental well-being nowadays. Okay. So how this Vipassana meditation can offer solutions to mental health care?
Sir, I think if one has the patience and the motivation to do Vipassana meditation, or for instance any kind of meditation, whichever is available at their doorstep, I think meditation can be a most effective and most cost effective solution to the mental health crisis. Sir. There are many scientific reports coming up that just 10 minutes of daily meditation can improve our mental well-being, primarily focusing on our concentration and reducing the stress aspects.
Okay. You have also mentioned about listening to podcasts. We are seeing there is proliferation of podcasts nowadays. What is the role of podcasts in a democracy?
So podcasts are the emerging audio-based information technology, sir, where it is also a form of freedom of speech and expression in a democracy, sir, where in my opinion podcasts are democratizing the public space even more, sir, because a normal student who has the access to internet technology can start his own podcast to air his own views. So in this way I see podcasts as a medium of deepening democracy in 21st century, sir.
Is it shaping public opinion towards a particular issue?
Definitely yes, sir. Just like any source of information or entertainment industry, podcasts have also been used to shape public opinion, sir. In recent times we have seen how the Trump election in US has particularly been focused on the proliferation of podcasters in influencing the American public opinion towards particular parties.
As you have brought in, how India-US relationship will be shaped under Trump administration?
Sir, this is actually the Trump's second administration, sir. So I see his contribution in 2016 to 20 as a significant step in India and US relations. I honestly feel that there will be either a neutral relations or else definitely a positive relations, sir. Firstly, with respect to our strategic foothold in Indo-Pacific, sir. As the impending new Cold War between US and China is shaping up, I feel there is a significant strategic opportunity for India to enhance its foothold in the Indo-Pacific region, sir. For this, I feel US is supporting India in different ways, right from the technology transfer to the recent initiative of ICET of critical and emerging technologies. Having said that, Trump has few issues with respect to India, particularly with respect to trade and immigration, sir. However, close diplomatic relations and closed door meetings between high level diplomats can, I think, address such kind of issues of trade and immigration.
Now, this looks to be a book-wise writing, mains answer kind of. Can you be a little more specific about any agreement that is being discussed or any conference that had happened, any issue that is being spoken when you are saying high level meetings and all? Any such pinpointedly you say, see, these are the 2 steps we have taken?
Presently Honorable External Affairs Minister is in USA, ma'am. He is already meeting with the new Trump administration officials, so that he is making a background work before the Trump administration takes their inauguration on Jan 20th. So I think this kind of proactive measures behind the closed doors should take place.
And you also mentioned about the emerging technologies, right? So can you tell me how artificial intelligence, developments in artificial intelligence is shaping the global geopolitics?
Sir, artificial intelligence as such directly impacts the governance aspects of the global governance, sir. Most of the countries have not accepted on how to go about its regulation, which is one of the important challenge to today's world, sir. And secondly, particularly to the geopolitics, sir, the war for AI supremacy is taking place between different global parts like USA and China, sir. The amount of data centers and amount of supercomputing prowess that each country has is being taking place, sir. The supplementary war of AI is being translated into the war of semiconductors and other global supply chains on critical minerals, sir.
Okay. we say that data is the new oil in the context of artificial intelligence, and China is the new Saudi Arabia. What do you think about this?
So definitely China is the second largest country with huge population, sir. So after its economic reforms in 1978, it has taken a systematic measures to improve its economy. On the other hand, improve its IT prowess as well, sir. Its main strength lies in the backbone of IT industry, that is the electronics and the semiconductors, sir. So by enhancing its foothold in electronics and semiconductors and other supply chains, it is virtually taking a supremacy in the upcoming industries like the data and artificial intelligence, sir.
Sai Bhargava, can you convince me that you have done anything pro people until now? Have you worked on anything that has helped people in general, maybe in your neighborhood or in your college, something that you have done for people and not for self?
Yes, sir. Sir, actually I worked as a mentor for a Sati student body, sir, where I took up the well-being of 5 freshers which were allotted to me, sir. The freshers who come to IIT Madras for the first time, they have different kinds of mental issues, sir, because they are coming from a very conservative and more success-oriented mindset. Suddenly coming into this ocean of freedom for them can be overwhelming, sir. So many of them have opened up about their issues and their own social expectations on how they should perform. So I think, in my opinion, I have built a trust between me and themselves, so that they opened up about their own issues. And I think I don't say I have completely solved their issues, sir, but definitely I have instilled a sense of confidence on them, so that they have navigated successfully their studies in IIT, sir.
You come from Andhra Pradesh. Why is there a movie mania in Andhra Pradesh, so much as fans throng and create a stampede in which lives are lost? Why do you think it is very high compared to maybe your neighboring states?
Sir, I think the feel or the attention towards movie stars is unparalleled across all the states in India, sir, in my opinion. However, the commercial aspects of the Andhra and Telangana movie industry is one thing where there is more visible fans attention towards the movie stars, sir. In India, I feel there is a sense of they want to see someone above themselves, sir. So for that they watch movies, so that they feel themselves internally that yes, they seek a sense of motivation from such kind of movies, sir. So in this way, Andhra and Telangana people have strong love for their movies and great respect towards their movie stars, sir.
Okay. You presented a paper on effective road design. Do you think pedestrian rights are considered in India when we go for road design?
So definitely, I think for the in the initial 60 or 70 years of our initial road design stage, sir, we have not considered the pedestrian footpaths in our road design, particularly in our metropolitan cities, sir. However, in the last 10 to 15 years, I think there have been dramatic changes, particularly with respect to the metropolitan cities, where the urban development authorities have a say in the design of the roads, sir.
Can you list some changes that have come up in the last few years with respect to pedestrian rights, especially for pedestrians in road design?
Sir, sorry, sir, I'm not exactly aware of it. I'll read about it once again.
Okay. Does India have an official refugee policy?
Sir, as far as I can recollect, sir, there is a Refugee Act of India. Sorry, sir, there is no Refugee Act, and even India has not signed the Geneva Convention on Refugees, sir.
Do you think our reluctance in taking stance on international geopolitical issues, does it hamper India's prospects of becoming a permanent UNSC member? Most of the times it is seen that we don't take a stance, be it on the issues of Syria and all. So how do you support India's prospect? How do you see India's claim of becoming a permanent UNSC member?
So definitely it is one of the most important goals of India's foreign policy to become one of the permanent member at a UN Security Council, sir. However, India's stance at various geopolitical events, it is just one dimension of its comprehensive national power, sir. Where, in my opinion, we have increased our risk-taking capacities, sir, to an extent. We have embraced strategic ambiguity as our own strength in recent times, like in Syrian crisis or else the Ukraine crisis, where we have equal partnership with all the stakeholders, and we know that in any geopolitical conflict, we cannot pinpoint to one single cause or one single stakeholder, sir. So taking that into perspective, I think India has been a greater risk-taking nation, where it is focusing more on the peace and the diplomacy rather than pinpointing to any one cause or the stakeholders, sir. So coming to the prospects of India becoming a permanent security member, sir, I think we are more focusing on our civilizational soft power, and now we are expanding our economic resources as well, sir. I see these two are the important pillars going forward in the future, so that India can claim a seat at the global high table, sir.
Am I correct when I say that India's soft power is overstated?
Sir, definitely I do not agree with it, sir. Our soft power potential is huge, sir, but it is under-tapped is what I feel, sir.
Fine. Can you tell me some core values that you have learned in NCC? There are some core values of NCC.
Yes. There are three things according to me, sir. Firstly, the unity aspect, where right from the camping to the parade to different group activities which we perform, I understood how united we be, how successful we become, sir. Secondly, the leadership trait, where leadership is not just about displaying the success of the group, but it is that everyone in the group has sense of belonging to that group, sir. And thirdly, important thing which I personally took from it was the discipline. Sometimes we might not understand why a particular person is giving orders to us or why he is telling something, but there might be some bigger picture to it. So by maintaining our discipline and our work ethic, in my opinion, in the long term, I feel we will be matured enough to understand why our work ethic or discipline is working in the long term. So unity, discipline and leadership are the three core values which I think I inculcated.
If I were to give you two options, because you also have roots in Prakasham district as well as you studied in Visakhapatnam.
Yes.
Now that Amravati is the capital, if I were to give you two options, which one would you prefer, Visakhapatnam or somewhere in Prakasham as a capital city, if not Amravati? Which one would you prefer and why?
Sir, I would prefer some place in Prakasam district only, sir, because of the huge underdevelopment and lot of land availability in the Prakasam and the surrounding districts. I think a similar greenfield city construction is definitely possible in the Prakasam district, sir. However, there are challenges right from the water availability to the lack of transportation issues, mobility issues. If we address these two issues, I definitely think that some greenfield place in Prakasam district can play a similar role as how Amravati can enhance the future of Andhra, sir.
What do you say about privatization of Visakhapatnam steel plant? Do you think it is a correct measure that the government is taking here?
Sir, in my opinion, in the long term, there should be no role of government in any kind of public sector, sir. But in the short term, considering the emotional aspects of the local population and as well as the balance sheets of the steel plant are also not very good, so that it can attract good private players. So considering these two aspects in mind, in my opinion, there should be a strategic disinvestment rather than complete privatization, sir. Rather than selling the stake of complete 100%, I feel incremental disinvestment in the steel plant along with increasing the balance sheets of the steel plant by allocating coal mines to it, or else clubbing the RINL or the Visakhapatnam steel plant with the SAIL PSU in the short term is what I feel is the prudent way forward, sir.
When you say that in the long term there better not be any role of the government, are you a supporter of laissez-faire state where there is no public sector at all? Are you a supporter of it?
Sir, I am supporter of social liberalism, sir, not market liberalism, where there should be a role of government only at the regulating level rather than in the participating levels.
Bhargav, you studied in DAV School of Vishakhapatnam. What is the mission of the school?
It was DAV was actually the formation of the Arya Samajis, ma'am. It was formed in the 19th century with an aim to inculcate scientific education on one hand and also inculcate a deep sense of reverence to Indian nationalism as well, ma'am. These two are the important.
So, if deep sense of scientific etc. what you are speaking about, the board that you have appeared there is the regular SSC board. How different they do this in order to inculcate scientific tempo and other things? If the board is the same, is there any difference in the teaching methodology or how you learn, kind of?
Yes, ma'am. Due to some technical reasons, ma'am, I studied till 7th class in the CBSE board, and later my 8th, 9th and 10th were from state of Andhra Pradesh board itself, ma'am. So the infrastructure, right from the science labs to different recreational activities like the sports, music and arts class, those infrastructure are already there in our school, ma'am. Even though I took the final examination from the Andhra Pradesh state government's secondary education board, ma'am, we have done different courses or classes in games and sports and
so
art
definitely
and
there is
music.
some difference
Yes.
there. Definitely there is some difference. So these days we see that there are so many different curriculum coming up. You have SSC, ICSE, CBSE and international boards, all these. Do you think our education system, Indian education system, is producing children who can compete with the global children?
Ma'am, we have come a long way since our independence in improving our education qualitative and the quantitative outputs, ma'am. But still we are long way to go in competing with the global standards. For instance, if we take the World Bank Learning Poverty Report, it has clearly mentioned that the class 5 students are unable to read the class 1 texts and do the basic math. So considering such kind of reports, I still think there is a lot of scope for improvement, ma'am. There are a wide range of issues in our education sector, right from the rote learning aspect to the teacher absenteeism to infrastructure constraints. If we tackle these three in a more systematic way.
So given in a district you are supposed to handle the schools working there, so how do you take steps? What steps you recommend? What's your state's, so Prakasam, right?
Yes.
What's the literacy rate, Prakasam district?
It is around 65% as per 2011 census. It is less than national average, ma'am.
So in your district, for example, you would want to do something to improve the state of things. What do you propose?
There are two things which I can think of right now, ma'am. Firstly, strengthening the existing public education system, and secondly, improving the adult literacy campaigns, ma'am. Firstly, with respect to public education system, we have sufficient funds and the a vision to improve our education system, but the main important reason why we are lacking is the ground level implementation, ma'am. So if we plug in the technological inputs, right from the smart classes to biometric verification of the teachers, to an extent I feel the quality of education in public's education system can improve, ma'am.
So in your school you had a laboratory?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you allowed to work in the laboratory?
No, ma'am. We were not allowed, but we were shown different experiments.
So at what age you were allowed to work in the laboratory? At which grade?
It was only in my 11th and 12th, ma'am, which was a part of our curriculum. We need to do some lab tests.
So you have come from civil engineering, right? So can you tell me something about earthquake resistant structures?
Yes, ma'am.
How do you construct, or what material you use?
At 3 different levels we can implement the earthquake resistant building technologies, ma'am. Firstly, at the foundation level itself, we can make different kinds of foundations like the sandbox foundation, which enhances the ductility of the overall superstructure, ma'am. Secondly, with respect to the materials which are being used. These days there is a lot of research on the composite materials. For instance, in our IIT Madras itself, there is this GFRG technology, ma'am, which I have personally worked about.
GFRG as in?
It is a glass fiber reinforced gypsum panels, ma'am, where it is a composite of phosphogypsum and the steel, ma'am. By using this thing, we are naturally reducing the weight of the superstructure. So when there is a lateral movement due to the earthquake, the overall, due to the less weight of the superstructure, overall capability of withstanding the lateral forces also increases. And thirdly, rehabilitating the existing structures to make it earthquake proof. There are different technologies where there are seismic dampers which we construct in between a beam and a slab, and there are shear walls which are particularly constructed to ensure that the lateral forces do not sway the building to a greater extent. So at these three different levels, right?
So practically we have any such structures in the country, anywhere?
Yes, ma'am. The IIT Madras has a model house of GFRG building, ma'am.
But it's not executed in the regular market. We are still in the conventional. But we see a lot of steel structures that have come up. What is the difference, I mean, in terms of effectiveness, in terms of various other aspects when compared to concrete structures? How is it that the exclusive steel structures are beneficial or otherwise?
There are three important benefits of only pure steel based construction with respect to in comparison with reinforced concrete construction, ma'am. First is the quality and the time of construction is significantly enhanced using the steel based construction, ma'am, because the steel components are usually manufactured in a plant which has greater amount of efficiency and effectiveness, ma'am. So this effectively increases the quality and reduces the time. And secondly, the material of steel itself is very durable and long lasting in comparison to other materials like the cement and the concrete, ma'am. So these three aspects, quality, time and the durability, are the important.
But how about rusting?
Yes, ma'am, that is the challenge of the steel structures, ma'am.
So what precautions people take? Because in many of the metros, now in order to complete the projects fast, they are choosing steel structures.
I'm not exactly aware of the technologies which are used, ma'am, but the gradation of steel itself can be changed, and there are other technologies, ma'am. I'll read about it. Exactly, I'm not aware.
What do you know about Prakasam Pantulu?
Tangturi Prakasam Pantulu is one of the well-known freedom fighters from our region of Andhra, ma'am. He is most famously called as Andhra Kesari, which means the Lion of Andhra. So during the Simon Go Back protests, he has shown his chest to the British police to shoot him. So that
What is the relevance today? Is it having any relevance today?
Yes, definitely the courage and the bravery of Tangturi Prakasam Pantulu is one thing which remains a universal value, ma'am.
And last couple of days we have been mourning the demise of the erstwhile Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. What does his life teach you?
I mean, the last few days I have been reading the newspapers, ma'am. Even I could not imagine such kind of contribution which he have done, ma'am. Apart from the regular economic reforms and his leadership, ma'am, I have read about him in three different values which he has inculcated. Firstly, the integrity aspect, ma'am. There has been a story which is being circulated, ma'am, in the past few days, where as part of his decision making as a Prime Minister, he has devalued the rupee, due to which he has got some extra money in his own bank account which has a foreign currency. So he felt it was not a honest thing, and he has gave away the extra amount of the profit due to the changes in the exchange rates to the Prime Minister's relief fund, ma'am. So this integrity aspect is one thing which definitely motivated me, ma'am. Secondly, I know that he has come from a very humble upbringing, ma'am, but now reading about his young days where he was a refugee from Pakistan, and being a refugee from Pakistan and a minority, religious minority in India, and still becoming and occupying India's topmost position has definitely motivated me, ma'am. It displays his perseverance and determination, ma'am.
What do you think? Minority religious rights are taken care in the country today?
We have constitutional protections to the religious minorities in the form of Article 29 and 30, ma'am. However, on the ground level, still there is a lot of scope for improvement in their socio-economic indicators. If we see right from the total fertility rate to the literacy rate to the employment among the religious minorities, still they are lacking, ma'am. So we need to improve our social schemes so that they are performing on par
All
with
this
other
is one. How about their feeling of security and belongingness? Are we on the right path, or are there any divisive lines being drawn, bringing insecurity?
Due to the past political changes in our party system, definitely political polarization among the majority population and the minorities has significantly increased, ma'am. And also the social media is also playing the role of increasing these divisions, ma'am. So by considering these both aspects, there is a rise of division among the minorities and the majority population, which we need to tackle effectively, ma'am.
Thank you. Your interview ends there. The last question, you have actually turned around the entire positive image that you created with that last answer to negative.
I first thought of not answering it.
Yes, we should have actually done this.
Should have said positive things. There's so many positive things. And all that effort that you made.
Question was very specific when you said about the sense of security and all that. There are a lot of positive things to say. Because first thing that, maybe because of the news or social media, maybe that was there on the top of your mind. So there are a lot of positive things to say first, and then maybe, whatever. Anyways, we're not suffering something like Bangladesh or Pakistan or Afghanistan. Okay. So anyways, that can be improved upon.
Your interview was very good. I mean, we see you positively there. Having said that, yes, and because of your previous year's experience also, I guess you might have worked on your this thing. That was my first question also. If you have improved and all, and you have occasional smile on your face, that is good. Only thing is, when you walked in, you were in a hurry to sit. That happens. You are uncomfortable as long as you are standing, but you relax yourself. Once you come in, you try to stand comfortably. No need to, stand in a standstill posture. Maybe perhaps putting your hands in the back also is fine. Wait for the board to ask you to sit, and then you take the seat. If at all namaste is fine with you, fine. Otherwise, you can simply bow your head and. Are you comfortable doing that?
This is the first time I did, ma'am. So I thought maybe something different I'll try.
Something different you must try.
But
Go with whatever comes natural to you.
Naturally.
Yeah,
Don't make it look like an effort because it was a little different for us also.
A couple of things before they also add, as far as I remember. Pedestrian question was asked, sir, I think was asking. You can actually tell about your own city. In Hyderabad also, you have certain places, the newly developed Hyderabad, where cycle tracks are there, pedestrian tracks are there. So you say that we are incorporating in the new areas where we are expanding. Try to look more positive on that. And
cycle tracks was one thing even I was waiting for now, because that has been specifically installed kada, and walking tracks also.
There are a number of things. When I asked for can you list few of them?
I was expecting more of technical, maybe in some Indian policy measure, whether is there anything written. I was thinking in that basis, not generic way. I thought you were expecting more of.
I asked for your observations. Do you see? I asked. So you could say, even if you answered something like the number of zebra crossings have increased, or now there are some pelican crossing, so where you can actually punch a switch and you can wait for the light to turn green and then you can walk. It's experimented in Hyderabad. So Or you could speak about a number of things, including, the pedestrian walkways, subways and all these, which are being developed in
The
metros.
bridges also that have come.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
And sir's permanent seat, UNSC permanent seat, I think you will have many more questions on that. Whether that whether the decision of Nehru was historical error, or how do you think now we can get that kind of, is there any possibility of UNSC seat now? Because times have changed now. You will have lot of questions. Canada is one. Canada versus entire West. Where should we, what should be the government of India stand? Kind of. I think you will have to read a lot of things from External Affairs Ministry. And you did read any book on external affairs in the recent past?
Yes, ma'am. I have read both the books of S. Jaishankar, Why Bharat Matters and India Way. Once I'll revisit them.
And if at all you have read anything like that, quote as in a casual way, so that the question can come on that. By the way, one other question I will ask you, because you were reading about, you were practicing this Vipassana meditation, etc. What is this Nishkam Karma?
It is a dispassionate performance of our actions, ma'am. Without any expectation from the consequence of those acts.
Possible? Is it possible?
For an enlightened beings it is possible, ma'am, but for us I think it is the process itself is satisfying for us.
Any other feedback?
You come across almost like a technocrat, and the answers seem to be well rehearsed, maybe because you also appeared last year.
Yes.
That is quite okay. Maybe you can bring a little, a personal element into it, or some kind of empathy. That is the reason I started asking the question whether. So convince me that you are pro people.
That
except for
5 juniors thing you said, right?
Mentor you said.
Other than that, there was nothing pro people.
Because you want to become an IAS, you will be working with people. Have you done so?
Like in the school and all, Helpage India campaigns. Like we go to different households in our neighborhood and collect
So you
donations.
start saying those things. As a child, you did that, and in college we did.
This is where I got doubt also, ma'am. Like, should I tell something which I didn't write, or it's better to stick to my?
You can.
Not necessarily only the DAF. So people, they also want to see the person,
Yes.
not just the person who is there on the DAF. So you can bring that human element in you. So that was what I was looking for. Maybe you can touch upon those things that about Helpage India, other things that you have done
Blood
also.
camps, etc. You participated in blood camps or
No, ma'am,
anything?
this Helpage India and flood relief and Hudud cyclone time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Your answers on Hudud was really good, I
Yes,
felt.
we have-
So you
yeah,
answered it
that
well.
You had taken it well, yes.
So even the other answers, I think you did well in most of the answers. Just that when the supplementary question is asked, maybe you were again gathering a lot of thoughts and you were self-doubting. A little bit of self-doubt is what I've seen. So maybe you can just work on that. You can expect, so when questions relating to anything that you've written in DAF are asked, also prepare for supplementary questions. Okay. Otherwise, I think you've done well.
Sir, just I want small feedback, sir.
Yeah.
When you were mentioning about I was feeling nervous in the supplementary questions and all. So how can I work upon, like, should I see to you and smile, or are there any techniques so that my nervousness will not be seen?
Being nervous is natural, so it's not that you can control. Even if you control in the mocks, maybe it will come across in the interview, but just that you can take some time and think about it. So the panel members asking you a supplementary question or trying to contradict you is just a way of testing you. It is not to make you really doubt your answer as such. So you can still stick to your answer, just substantiate it. You say that this is what I have learned, this is what, or I'm unable to recollect. So maintain yourself there. You need not go into a self-doubt mode, have I done something wrong and all. No need to feel so insecure there. It is okay to answer.
In fact, my question about the 3-child policy of
Yes.
Chandrababu Naidu and Telangana, you went into a cocoon kind, like, you know, it was actually visible on your face. You went blank. It was as if, what, did I say something wrong, kind of an expression which is in the Mohammed. So that you can avoid. You can just say, at least say, yes ma'am, acknowledge the question. It was as if you did not even understand what I was trying to say. Andikane I had to again repeat. I had to repeat. So you just say, yes ma'am, and you can recollect your thoughts, you collect your answers, and then respond. You've responded well, there's no doubt about it. But the way you had taken the question
was a bit... It took a long time. He dragged the answer actually. And one other thing I suggest is, while you're preparing also, one question, once you have written down the answer, go for supplementary questions. You ask another question to yourself. The chain should be there, so that for any kind of a question that is there in the board, you are ready for the kind of supplementary questions. You get used to it.
Film stars, it is more about the emotional connect that people have, not the commercial aspect.
Yeah, so it would have been better. That's what I felt when I asked. I was looking at the emotional aspect, the hero worship that is there, much more there in the south.
Telugu and Tamil, it is mostly the emotional quotient. That is what is driving the people towards those heroes. Hero worship. And no role of government in the future was a very bad.
Sorry, I forgot that one where you looked like a, because when you said that, no role, it's almost your supporter of laissez-faire state, you know. Not even US is that. So when you say that, I want to see government only as a regulator and facilitator, so that would be a disaster. So you could temper it down, you could moderate your answer a little bit. So
because you are from PSI are optional, that's also a huge thing. You cannot use statements in loose way. And also the exam that you are appearing for, government's role is there.
But otherwise, your overall performance, actually it shadows any these mistakes that you have made. But you can be much more cautious when you use those.
We're cautious and chala cautious, may not speak out and all, but
because the next questions which you asked, then I think I defended myself is what I felt. So, like, was it convincing argument, ma'am?
Later down it was when sir had asked supplementary questions, then it became clear as to what you're trying to say. Otherwise, no role for government was a very strong statement.
I'll be careful, ma'am.
And we did not ask any questions on thought, political thought. You should be prepared. All those small concepts of theory.
I think the presidential system was asked, and you answered it well. I think
thinkers and proper Socrates, proper thinkers, you should actually study, and modern political thought also. Because now these debates are there, like what extent freedom should be allowed, dictatorial regimes and all that. Now everything is coming into very much open. Freedom, how it should be controlled in countries like India. అప్పుడు మనము మాక్ one-on-one చేస్తున్నప్పుడు I was asking one question. Maybe you can help him out with that. I asked him, if at all we have to take back any freedoms that we have given to people in India, what freedom should we take back? And then he said Article 29 and 30. Adi chala pedda blunder.
Because I'll just tell it again. Ma'am was asking very good question. First I told freedom to carry arms.
Adi US law.
At that time ma'am told, okay, not in world, tell me only in India. So then I was thinking, then I thought that there is no requirement for a minority rights, especially in the long term, where everyone becomes equal, because their rights are included in the Article 21 and all. So we need not underline minority rights is what my argument was. So
you could come across very wrong when you say you want to take away any fundamental rights, especially with respect to minorities, anything like that. Maybe you can say something relating to, with the emergence of technology, anyways the rights, privacy rights, we are anyways sacrificing bit by bit. Maybe something on those lines you can say, because something relating, though we have a right to privacy, but because of technology and our over dependence on technology and surveillance everywhere, so here somewhere privacy we are sacrificing. Maybe something around that is fine. but something to do with minority rights, and because you're even going to the core identity itself, right? So minority educational rights. So when you touch upon 29 and 30, and it's not just religious, and even linguistic. So that would start another debate.
Should he actually pick up privacy, right to privacy? You said to a certain extent, yeah. But then, why should we actually take away some of the rights that are given? Should we commit anything like this?
You see, if it's a tricky question, always stick to what is there in the Constitution. Yes. So whatever is there in the Constitution, whatever have been put in the fundamental rights, they were done after lot of thought, lot of debate and discussion. So I wouldn't say that you should go into extent of telling anything about fundamental rights at least. Freedoms, when you say freedoms as such, it's better to answer that, you know, as on today, whatever freedoms are available, which the Constitution provides us, better not to take any of them. Let them be there. But if you are still pressed for an answer, something you can say regarding maybe something like privacy.
Which does not lead you into any controversy. That caution you should.
Even with Dr. Manmohan Singh, the sentence that you use, despite coming from a religious minority. Akkada, I think you led to these questions where madam had asked, right?
అసలు అవి మనం నోటికి ఇస్తున్నట్టు అవుతుంది వర్డ్స్.
You can say he's come from a humble background, good enough. Refugee camps, good enough. You could religious minority, when you are raising that issue, again, you got into the uncomfortable zone there.
Refugees thing, we are a signatory kada.
We don't have any, we don't have any refugee policy or an act, we don't have.
So how do we do that then?
So on case by case basis we have been doing, in fact.
So can there be a comparison of Dalai Lama and Madam
Sheikh Hasina? Yeah, that can be.
Can there be a comparison?
We are only doing based on our interests and our history with Sheikh Hasina, our history with Tibetan issue. So in fact, should we go for a refugee policy itself has been a very question, and we have been avoiding it for long for our best interests. So once we commit to any refugee policy, we have to stick by it. So when Rohingyas come, we have to allow. So there is a catch there. So that's why we have stayed away from going for refugee policy.
Just as this topic came, like this question can also come, right? Like, should we extradite Sheikh Hasina to?
Yes, definitely.
That question would very well. So what would be your answer? I'm interested.
I thought about it. I think we need to extradite her only after rule of law and a elected regime in Bangladesh has been elected.
Yeah. So
I want to stick to this argument.
So you can speak about, so even in our extradition policy, you have something called Article 6, which says that, you know, political refugees need not be extradited. If you see Article 6 of the extradition treaty that we have. So you can speak about Article 6, or even if you were to extradite her, so see that only when is elected government, as well as if she gets a fair trial, when we have confidence that she gets a fair trial. So long as we, right now the government, Jamaat-e-Islami influence on the government doesn't, I don't think there will be a fair trial for us. So you can speak about fair trial, you can speak about elected government, and then we can even consider. We can consider, you say, it's better.
No need to go to that extent.
Yeah, we can consider once, you know, but you can also speak about Article 6. You can brush it a little bit on it. And the shirt also, can it be a little bit cream?
Yes, sir. This is last time, man. This time I got a cream color one.
Okay. I think that suits you better, I felt. Because somehow there's a little dullness.
Cream and brown color tie atla antara.
Blue color tie only, ma'am. I'll just show the photo.
Okay.
I'll just bring my phone.
Yeah. Just that this shirt gives a little dull appearance somehow. Your answers were bright. Appearance.
మీరు అన్నది branded అనేది కొంచెం I think, yes.
Because of the pin also that you have.
Yes, sir. This thing I'll remove it, sir. Last time I removed it. This
Okay.
thing.
Looked good, man.
Okay.
All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.